let's get into the Charlie take on the iDubbbz situation.
iDubbbz posted a YouTube video that's become extremely divisive. I haven't seen people this divided on a singular topic since the red and blue dress debate. The video he posted was basically an apology for the content he made in the past, apologizing for it being hurtful or damaging, and a whole myriad of other things that he wanted to come forward with, and talking about how he's changed as a person and thus his content will be changing. He goes over like insecurities of his past, and overall he just invites the audience into the back of the kitchen to see how the sausage is made and meet the chef. And for a lot of people, they didn't want to meet the chef. He's being very open and honest about his feelings on his older self and now his current mentality, how he feels better and healthier and doesn't like what he did in the past and didn't like who he used to be. So it's a whole apology video for all of that. He releases more feelings in this video than Pandora's box, and I kind of want to go over this whole situation because I have a lot of thoughts on the topic, not only as it pertains to iDubbbz in particular.
I have a lot of thoughts on this topic, Charlie. What is this? MoistCr1TiKaL video gets like 700 million views, and every single one has that thing just in the bottom of the camera. I'm losing my mind every time. Ah! He has it every time. He has it all the time. Oh my God, I am so autistic sometimes. It's you guys do this shit to me and it makes me so mad. I'm chatting. I'm just chatting. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing this thing that chatters do. Let's continue.
Particular, but just in the general creator space. There's a few things that I want to talk about here.
For a while, I felt like if I changed my content over time, that people would see that as a reflection of who I am and what I value. But I'm starting to realize that that is a very weak and passive way to, run my channel and live my life.
I'm sorry to immediately come in here with the Phoenix Wright objection, but I completely disagree with the sentiment that it's weak or passive to change your content and expect people to see that as a reflection of yourself. That's pretty much the optimal way of handling any kind of situation in which you're not comfortable with either your audience or the content you've been making. By changing the content over time, you're changing the audience over time.
Nope. I disagree with Charlie. I mean, Charlie's talking about best practices. That's why he's the commentary guy with 13 million subs who, each of his videos get like 700 gorillion views, even though this is in the frame. It's in the frame. Why is that in the frame? Okay. Anyway, but but I disagree. In an ideal world, that's fine. It might work for Charlie, but I think iDubbbz did not want to do that. I like that he apologized for that. Like, I like that he came out and apologized. You want to know why I like that? I think I would have probably had a similar take to Charlie maybe a year ago. When I first started recognizing that, like, Ian's attitude was very different. When I first met him, actually. Because I always thought, like, after watching some of his content cops, like, I always thought, like, first of all, I knew Anissa, and I knew that she was awesome. I knew that she had, great politics overall. I did not know that she was also like Charlie, or not Charlie, sorry, like Ian. But that was the reason why I thought like Ian can't be too much of a edgelord. You know what I mean? Because of her. And no, literally, like I was like, he can't be this much of like, he can't be what I have seen in his videos. But I was a little apprehensive when I first met him. I thought like, this is the guy that says the N-word a lot. You know what I mean? He's the N-word guy. But then I noticed like he did feel very uncomfortable about it. He did feel very uncomfortable about like the things that he had said. iDubbbz literally said that people came up to him expecting him to be transphobic. Even after changing his content, people still thought he was bigoted. Clearly that didn't pan out. He has evidence to prove he just can't change his content and expects his audience to change with him. I don't know why Charlie's ignoring this part. I think Charlie doesn't care as much. I mean, he's a lip. Charlie's definitely a lip, but like smack dab in the center on a lot of issues, but definitely hypercritical of cops every now and then. I've heard him aggressively advocate for workers' rights. He's just very Florida, but overall, I think, I don't know how to describe it. I think, he's just a guy. I don't know. I don't hate Charlie, but he's completely Reddit adjacent. Yeah, I mean, he is. The only criticism I have of Charlie ever even though I think he's a very kind person. I think he's a very nice person. I've met all of the people around him. Loved all those guys at the MoistCr1TiKaL factory, right? I balled up with them. They're great. Having said all of that, the only thing I would say about Charlie is that like I think he capitulates a little bit too much to some people who are like very clearly edgelords. You know what I mean? People who do definitely cut racist content, or at least people who are very familiar and very friendly with people who cut racist content. Maybe they're not like overtly white supremacists themselves in a lot of instances, because there's a lot of like weird T channels and commentary YouTube spaces that are very center right, But he is a pretty good normie barometer. Muda Koff. I mean, I'm friends with Muda. Like I talk to Muda a lot of times. I don't think that's not what I'm talking about. When you think that that's what I'm talking about, you're wrong. That's not what I'm talking about. But Muda, like Charlie, also has some friends like that. My point is this. I don't care what you guys' opinions are on the commentary space in general. I'm just going to finish what I'm trying to say. I think he's like a little too welcoming for my taste. But it's fine. I still watch his shit. I don't care. I can get over it. If you can't, that's fine. Yeah, I'm talking about the D tier Keemstars and drama YouTubers, who are like just awful for the most part.
As well, obviously, right? The people that subscribed for your previous catalog of content might not stick around for the stuff you start creating when it goes in a different direction, and that's a totally fine thing. I don't think there's anything weak about just making different content and growing individually without having to come forward and share that growth with your audience. At the end of the day, your subscribers aren't your friends. You don't know them and they don't know you. That's the brass tacks of it. Sorry to blast the cold water in your face first thing in the morning. You don't owe them an explanation for why you're changing your content. You're welcome to tell them. I think that's totally within your right to do. But I really disagree that it's weak if you don't explain why you're changing your content. You can just make...
Damn, motherfucker heard what Ian was saying and was like, is this about me? Like, what? Everyone has a different way of doing shit, man. It's fine. Like, I think Ian's way of openly admitting that he has changed his mentality, he's changed his content, and addressing his past is perfectly valid and actually very good. I will say this much. I think that was more so for like a lot of like black and brown marginalized people that felt differently about the impact that he had. I think for those people, he did that for those people. He was like, I'm acknowledging it. My content is different, and I apologize. Like openly saying that was I think something that people had to hear. There's a difference Charlie's missing. This is not Donkey moving on from League. He's moving on from the N-word. Yeah. iDubbbz wasn't saying he was weak for not explaining the situation to his old fans. He was saying it was a weak move to move on without apologizing to minority groups. I think so too. I think that's what he was saying. I think, I think partially that and partially that like he was not going to be real. Charlie doesn't seem like he's ever addressed his fans directly. Wasn't this video for the victims of the harassment and the idiots who don't understand he has changed? Yeah. I think the reason why he said that, the reason why iDubbbz came out and said that is pretty obvious. It's because people still didn't fully get that he had changed his mind. That's it. That's why he apologized to people from marginalized backgrounds, but he felt bad about all the pain and hurt he had caused them. He recognized that. He didn't want to be seen as that person. And he also wanted to tell people in his audience that are still like that like that's not a good thing to do. Not good to do.
Different stuff and go in that direction where you're happier without ever really needing to come forward and like really lecture on why.
I think I should have the balls to make an apology video and take accountability for the mistakes I've made. So that's what this video is. I am responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel. And I've also created a culture of apathy and a lot of like cruelty as well. Like, some of the videos I've made have been very not edgy. I don't think they some of these videos were edgy. I think they were just outright cruel.
It sucks to hear that this is how he thinks about his old content and his old self. It's always a very difficult realization when you look back on, the you of a few years ago disappointed. Like, I used to be 5'6", and I still am, but it sucks to realize that I was then too, and have been for a long time. Point is, he wasn't happy with the content he made or the person he was, and now he's trying to apologize for the videos he made. And I, once again, have to completely disagree with the way he looks at it. I feel like his perspective on it is very warped by the way the internet has evolved over the years. The way he talks about this content makes it sound like he used to fucking murder puppies for these videos, which it was never that extreme. I very much would consider...
Bro, come on, Charlie. He was fucking screaming the N-word at people, dude. What the fuck? Okay, I take it back. Charlie's not the normie barometer on this, okay? Nope. He's the barometer for what, like, the internet center is, but no shot, dude. You fucking show iDubbbz to, like, a normal guy, like a stevedore, you know what I mean? Like a black stevedore sees a fucking iDubbbz video because his son's watching it. He's not gonna go, what the he's not gonna go, oh man, that's like not as bad as killing a puppy. He's gonna be like, what the fuck is that? What are you watching? You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. No, you show what iDubbbz was doing to like a fucking normal human being out there, out and about. They're gonna have some opinions, okay? They're gonna have some opinions. Like, it's not like he was killing puppies. Yes, it's not like he was doing race crimes individually, but like it's straight up. Like it is straight up probably like the most openly recognized unacceptable action. You know what I mean? No, dude, normies don't care about the N-word, at least rural normies. Yeah, brother. No, you're wrong. Nope, wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Also, black people do. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, like saying that was not okay back then either, for the record. Charlie's literally doing the shit that every 32 but mentally 14-year-old in the hate comments in this video are doing, Lamau. Come on, man. It wasn't that bad. It was the glory days of online, bro. Come on. Exactly. It's like, I don't think Charlie knows the cultural impact iDubbbz had. Either he's coping hard or he's actually somehow oblivious to this. No, I don't think he's oblivious to it. I think he just doesn't think that what iDubbbz was doing was like that bad. I think he thinks that the iDubbbz apology was like overboard. The irony, of course, is that I don't think Charlie would do that. I don't think Charlie would do that. If you don't think it was that bad, didn't you agree with that earlier? I agreed with certain components of that, but not this. I would never in a fucking million years say that like an apology wasn't warranted for making videos and defending saying the N-word and saying the N-word all the time in public. That's crazy. My point was, I would have differentiated between the harmful actions and the harmful toxicity that was caused versus like, some of the shit that actually stood the test of time. You know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying? I quite literally said, damn, iDubbbz is apologizing like he was fucking Ben Shapiro. Like he wasn't that bad. Okay? But having said that, I would never in a million years say that like, man, it's, it's good that he shouldn't have apologized for that kind of stuff. No, it's very good that he apologized for that, and it was totally warranted.
Consider it edgy. It was 2016 edginess in all of its glory. That was entirely the brand. And for its time, it lived peacefully. All four nations, water, earth, fire, air, lived together in harmony with all this edginess going on. Now, obviously, times have changed, and he has changed. He's gotten older. He's in his 30s now. In your 30s, it's not exactly entertaining to...
Lamar, I didn't even pre-watch this? Yeah, that's crazy. Bro, that's wild. Nah, maybe this is where I differ because, like, in 2016, I was an online figure on the left, and I was getting my ass beat in the QRTs from day one, even as like a young, not all that famous content creator. There was I still had my fair bit of stalkers from the 4chan, from the groiped up shouty community on 4chan, many of which were probably iDubbbz fans as well. And no, that shit was not good. And it was cope. It was just bad. It's just not funny. It is so obvious that, and Ian even recognizes that in his video, which I really liked. You were doing that because you weren't fucking funny and you desperately wanted to be funny and you wanted to get a reaction out of people, and it wasn't fucking funny, but like all of the unfunny fucks loved it because they also wanted to be funny and they thought, haha, this is how I get reactions out of people. Lol, we're just owning you. And they still do that. Let's continue.
You just be spamming slurs for shock humor. I don't find that entertaining, and he doesn't either. So it's totally fine to want to distance yourself from making content like that. But I don't think it was a mistake that he made those videos. Like, they're not hurtful, nor do I really think they're damaging. Now, you could make an argument that they were hurtful to the people they were about. Like,
no, they were absolutely hurtful and they were absolutely damaging. Charlie, I think, is just like looking at Content Cop. I'm going to be super charitable here. I think Charlie is just looking at Content Cop in and of itself and saying like Content Cop wasn't hurtful and damaging, maybe to the people, but that's not what Ian was talking about. Ian is talking about the things that he said in those things.
The Content Cop on Tana or Leafy.
Also, why doesn't he just talk to Ian? Like, this is what I don't understand. Like, bro, come on. You literally did the fucking creator clash with him. Just DM him before making a video like this.
Or any of that. You could say like, he hurt their feelings or sent harassment their way, which may have been a mental burden on them, and you could feel bad about that, I suppose. But at the end of the day, I don't think the goal of his content was ever to be hurtful or damaging. He was just trying to entertain and using edginess as shock humor, which for its time was acceptable online. Now, whether or not you think that's okay that it was ever acceptable, that's a different argument for a different day. But the point is, the point of his content wasn't to be hateful or hurtful. He really was just trying to entertain. At least that's how I and the majority of people viewed it. So I just don't think that the apology is really warranted. You can explain like, I just don't like making that content anymore, so I won't. And be like, hey, I even regret making that content.
Making this video while iDubbbz getting a kind of hate is weird. I know, especially because he knows him. Like, come on, Charlie. I hope he turns this around and like talks about all the people shitting on him for changing at some point. It would be very nice. Like, why are you debate lording someone's fucking apology for saying the N-word all the time? Oh my God, dude. Especially weird because like, you're not like that either, motherfucker. Why? Why are you saying this? Why are you saying this? Is there something wrong with my brain? Because when I see Ian apologizing, I'm thinking about what he apologized for, okay? Maybe in my mind, I'm thinking, well, there was a lot of valid content cops out there and it was good overall and it stood the test of time with the exceptions of like all the fucking slurs and shit. You know what I mean? But he is very clearly apologizing for the culture that those slurs created, the culture of hate and bigotry that it justified, normalized, okay? I'm sorry, like your intention being, I just wanted to entertain. That's why I kept screaming the fucking N-word is ridiculous. Like, that's not a good defense. And Ian doesn't think that that's a good defense. He doesn't even agree with that. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, I don't know why people think that's him being a pussy. He's getting ass fucked by every corner of the internet right now. Some in like insane ways, right? Like, how are you gonna sit there and be like, oh, it's just, I don't know. There is so much going on here that like blows my fucking mind.
Because it's kind of cringe now. That's all fine, but to think that it is this huge, massive problem, like you made an unforgivable mistake, is a little weird to me.
So I don't want people to, get it confused about, where I stand. I have made some cruel, hurtful content, and I need to...
You want to know what it is? I get where Charlie's coming from to a certain degree, not about the N-word shit, obviously. Like, oh, he just wants to make people laugh. But, like, this video does have, like, a super negative slant to it. And to a degree where it's, like, his actions were really fucking gross, like old Ian, right? And he had to take accountability for that. So it was always going to come across as, like, kind of sad because it was like slurs. It was slurs galore, right? I think like a lot of people looked at that and went, dude, what the fuck? Like, but there's a lot of content that you made that was great. And even I had that takeaway where I felt like he didn't differentiate enough. But I personally realize that like he probably personally made that decision not to add any defense of his content at all in here because he wanted to make sure that people understood like he's not defending anything. Like he's here to be truly just apologetic. You know what I mean? Do you think this may be projection to some extent? Like is a defense of any past behaviors Charlie and others might have done that might have fallen under the edgy umbrella? You want to know what it is? I don't think Charlie fucking sees. I don't think Charlie's ever been on the receiving end of that harassment. Ian has been on the receiving end of his own fucking community and the harassment that they engage in, okay? That's it. 100%. He knows how fucking shitty it is when you have the most psychotic losers that spend every fucking waking moment online be up your asshole. It's embarrassing. You're protecting Charlie. Wait, what? Charlie is 1,000% racist. I'm not protecting Charlie at all. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm criticizing Charlie. Yo, some of you just need to shut the fuck up sometimes, okay? Like, if you can't comprehend what I'm saying, the words that are coming out of my mouth, then, I don't know, just maybe try shutting up for like a little bit and just listen, okay? Yeah, I think Charlie, given the nature of his commentary, hasn't really been on the receiving end of like this kind of this kind of like biblical amounts of harassment, like cyber harassment, cyber stalking, that and I think that's the major reason why he doesn't fully understand it. That's why he literally was like feeding trolls over and over again. And I was like, Charlie, what the fuck are you doing? Like, stop responding to people who are like not necessarily trying to criticize you in good faith. That's when I realized, oh, he doesn't get it. This dude has been online for as long as he has, and it genuinely feels like he hasn't like received a lot of like ill-intentioned weirdos that you know watch him specifically to hate watch.
To acknowledge that, and I'm really sorry that it's taken me this long to acknowledge it. The content I'm talking about specifically are content cop videos and videos where I was just generally criticizing people for very lackluster reasons and, you know, obviously didn't have any accountability online whatsoever on my end.
You shouldn't have to apologize for criticizing someone or something. Voicing...
Yeah, this is... Okay, look. This is what I mean. This part is the only part that I also kind of saw where I was like, man, I don't really get it. Like, I don't really know why he's like, kind of shitting on his own content cops. Like a lot of the content cops were like valid, you know?
Your opinion on a subject is a totally natural thing to do. I get criticized, I criticize others, people criticize movies, games, music, all of that. And to try and vilify the idea of criticism being evil, I think is a little dangerous because you just create these echo chambers and no one ever really grows from that. I think it's totally fine if you regret the way you criticize things, the way you approach the subjects. If you regret how you handled it, that's okay. However, I wouldn't necessarily say that you were picking apart people for lackluster things. You seem to really look back negatively on all of the content cops, but whether you like it or not, you did make good points and good arguments against people who did deserve criticism.
Yeah, no, that's a straw man. I don't even think Ian said that, but I do think that it left it out. Like, he said things in a way that you could absolutely see it like that. Okay? It's not... Does Charlie not know Ian says slurs, lol? No, he does. I think he does. I think he just thinks that, oh, he was just doing it to be like funny. And he wasn't doing it because he was like ideologically right-wing or a Nazi or whatever, which I don't think he was either, for the record. But I do think he was racist. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just be like, yeah, I say the N-word all the time and I make an advocacy for saying the N-word all the time and not like be racist. But do I think Ian now is racist? Absolutely not. I don't. Charlie got famous in the same way? No. I don't even think, was Charlie's old content even close to how fucking edgy iDubbbz old content is? No, you're wrong. No, you're fucking wrong. He's done this the whole time. He's never done anything but this. What you're watching right now is how Charlie was, like, it seems to me, like fucking 10 years ago. You're wrong about that. Yeah, his His shit was just like piss and cum and dicks. That's it.
I feel like the main pain point of those videos he used to make is the slurs in them. Like his catchphrase was 2 slurs strung together, right? Like that's not exactly something to be super proud of. I get that. But to go back and say like all of it's shit, all of it's, bad and cruel, I think is going way overboard, because it's not. I don't think any of it was cruel. I don't think the criticism was unwarranted, but it's fine to just regret the way you handled it to a certain extent without saying all the content was.
Bro, I like that the first half of Charlie's criticism is either directly what Ian said, okay, or just things that he didn't say that you made a false inference over. Or I don't think iDubbbz was like every single thing I've done is so wrong, it's so bad. He didn't even do the classic like over the top white guy self-flagellation shit that I fucking despise. The whole like I found a black person whose shoes I will clean on camera, please. Like I put shackles on myself. You can whip me, black people. Like when white people do that shit, it's annoying. It's transparently fucking selfish. It's so self-centered. You're still otherizing black people. Just be fucking normal and be anti-racist, okay? Ian didn't do that. That would have been fucking performative. He didn't even do that shit. I don't think Ian regrets his entire career, and maybe he should have differentiated that a little bit more. You know what I mean? He should have probably differentiated a little bit more and been like, I'm not saying like everything I've done is wrong and everything I've done is bad, but I think the reason why he didn't even factor that in is because he first and foremost wanted to like genuinely present an apology. And when you're presenting an apology and you turn around and say, I'm not saying all my content is fucking bad, all of a sudden that comes across like you're defending some of the content. And people will make up that shit on their own sides. Just like Charlie is currently filling the holes with his personal biases. If he had ever turned around and said, in my opinion, a lot of the content I made was actually pretty good and it stood the test of time, which I think it did, okay? If he had differentiated that somehow, then the people who he most wants to apologize to, okay, would probably see that and go, oh, dude, what the fuck? In my mind, I think maybe you're talking about saying the N-word that you're proud of. You know what I mean? It's hypercritical to a dude who's getting ass fucked online that personally. I don't know. Maybe I'm different. The reason why I'm, the reason why even if I do have disagreements with Ian and yet, I still am fully in support of what he did and what he's saying, is because I recognize that like people are unjustifiably shitting up. They're attacking him in a really, really fucked up way,
damaging or cruel or bad.
I was morally grandstanding and acting as if I am any better than any of these people that I was making content cop videos on, and I'm not. I'm a human. I'm a real human who makes mistakes, and I make a different set of mistakes than the people I was making videos on, but it doesn't matter. I don't think anyone deserves that level of cruelty or hate. It's also indoctrinated a lot of people into thinking that this is an okay way to behave, and it's not.
I feel like there's a chance he may have been hit by a Men in Black neuralizer and had his memories rewritten of what that content actually was. Because
yeah, everyone that looks at this who is like an old fan of Ian is not thinking of the N-word stuff. They're thinking of like him shitting on Keemstar, which is super valid. They're thinking of him shitting on Leafy is here. They're thinking of him shitting on Keemstar. They're thinking of him shitting on fucking what do you call it? All the villains, like Rice Gum. You know what I mean? That's it. That's what they're thinking. And they're like, what the fuck? What are you saying right now? Like, why are you saying this? Why are you apologizing for like criticizing Jake Paul and Logan Paul? That's what they're thinking. So they're just filling the fucking holes and not understanding the intention that he had. That's it. Partially because I don't think they see how warranted an apology was in this circumstance, because they personally were never like fully impacted by his commentary. Yes, ultimately because they're white. Okay? I'm white too, but at least I understand it because I was also, victim to a lot of the harassment campaigns as a liberal content creator or a liberal presenting content creator at the Young Turks. at the time when the battle lines had been drawn online. He had content that was specifically about saying and justifying slurs. Not hard to see. It's wrong law. Exactly. Like the whole, oh, it was just edgy. It was a different time back then is crazy to me. Charlie's vid dislike ratio, 10-1. The apology is ridiculous and is almost as bad as Rogan's apology for using the N-word when quoting other people. Wait, what? Charlie's vid like dislike ratio is 10-1. Yeah, dude. What's next? Are you going to tell me that like you read all the YouTube comments as well and they agree with Charlie? Wow, I'm shocked. Yeah, just because something is agreeable with like people who spend all their fucking waking moments on YouTube doesn't change my perspective on the morality of the situation. Maybe you should, I don't know, have a fucking backbone and, I don't know, learn to think on your own without being completely motivated by what other people think on particular matters. I agree completely with him. You agree completely with what? Charlie? I get it. I know. You already mentioned that. You're a LulW user or a LUL user already. We know that already, dumbass. We know. But thank you for informing us. Crazy.
I never got the impression from those videos that he was morally grandstanding or that he was trying to pitch himself as superior to them morally. He never really tried to make himself seem like he was better than them. In fact, he would multiple times point out like his problems as well, and even give them advice on how they could have attacked him better in response, giving them ammo if they wanted to use against him. It all seemed very self-aware, not from like a moral grandstanding perspective, but just you were lending criticism in a goofy way to entertain your audience as well as provide legitimate points for why these people are doing bad things or have done bad things. For example, making a content comp on Leafy and bullying him the same way he'd bully the people in his videos, right? Like, that's not exactly the most cruel thing in the world. It's just making a point and making that point entertaining to your audience.
I am very insecure about my ability to create interesting content or like entertain. It's gotten better over the years, but it's something that I have struggled with constantly. And it's one of the reasons why I, kept making this hurtful content. You do interpret that as an excuse, but I hope that that is relatable to other creators who maybe struggle with the same thing.
Now, this subject right here is something that extends beyond the iDubbbz situation. It's the insecurity, especially with a creator who's found a lot of success with one branch of content, that fearfulness to try other things because you don't know how to be perceived and you're a little worried about your ability to even deliver something that's not the norm that your audience is used to. That's a very honest look into that mentality, and you see it all the time on the platform with people that have found success in one niche and they never leave it. And that's because there's always that fear that if you do, you'll lose your audience or you'll just not be good at it. So most people live in the exact same style of content.
How do you explain to a grown man that saying racist slurs is racist and warrants an apology? Tap to have sex with me is dropping a lot of truth bombs in the chat. Thank you, Tap to have sex with me. I never in my life did I think iDubbbz would get in drama in 2023. Dude feels guilty. It's obvious he really regrets his behavior from the past, and I understand his desire to distance himself. Yeah, I think a lot of people are understanding. Look at that. People are recognizing that this was a good thing. I think it's very important for him to reflect on this openly, considering how there are so many people that do that genuinely misses old content and enjoy it for less than ideal reasons. It's very weird to critique him for the act of saying, yeah, this was bad. I mean, this is cool that... Wait, am I looking at newest? Is that why? No, I'm looking at top. He didn't make an apology to satisfy some angry mob. No one was trying to cancel him. He did it because he knew it would get rid of the type of audience he doesn't want anymore around. Yeah, I like that. People are actually, recognizing what iDubbbz did was good. Man, it fucking makes me happy. It actually does make me happy. It's not even fucking drama. It's a dude owning up to like bad shit that he did. Fans are mad because they can't stand to accept the behavior that he's apologizing for is wrong, because that would mean they would actually have to do some self-reflection. I think people who don't even agree with the fucking slurs probably have a lot of emotional response to, they remember how much they enjoyed watching Ian in 2016, and those feelings remain with them. So when they hear Ian fucking say, like, that stuff was bad, and not exactly specify in detail exactly what part of it was bad, because he kind of didn't. He just wanted to do an apology, which was warranted. They think, wait a minute, am I bad for enjoying Ian in 2016? What the fuck? Am I just as racist? What's going on? And to be fair and to be real, some of the people are just as racist. Okay? Some of them are. You know who they are. They are the ones who are literally fucking going wild on the timeline, losing their fucking minds, re-uploading all of his old videos that he took down, and putting it in his replies everywhere, or even in the replies of people that are defending him and calling him a cuck and a pussy, right? I don't think Charlie's one of those people, considering that I've met him, I've hung out with him. I don't think Charlie is the type of person in his many, many years of creating content. He hasn't done any of that shit. When he could have easily done edgy shit, he never did. I mean, he's been edgy in the sense that he has, talked about piss, shit, and cum, but, he's not making, I've never seen any fucking videos of him where he's making like racist ass jokes or anything like that. So I think Charlie's in the second category of people who are like, well, I liked your content and I didn't see it as like really all that bad. You know what I mean? Let's continue.
And forever. And that's how I was for like the first 8 or 9 years of this channel, doing nothing but gameplay and commentary videos, spouting the word nipple and titty and cum as much as I possibly could within the first 2 minutes and throughout the rest of the video. But eventually, you do take a risk and you try other things, and I always think that's the most fulfilling thing a creator can do, which is branch out from their niche. At least to try it, dip your toes in the deep end of that pool and give it a whirl.
I was being very bigoted in a lot of my videos, and I justified it because, I didn't think it was too serious. And I thought that people were...
Hassan, as recently as The Last of Us 2 launched, Charlie was like, why are trans people in video games? No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. I don't believe that.
We're going to see that I had good intentions, but that's so silly, Casual racism is still racism. Casual bigotry is still bigotry. And, I said a lot of things that I look back at and I cringe now, and I'm like, that is an awful thing to say.
This I completely understand. That is totally normal to look back on that and cringe, right? In your 30s and really any age over 16, you're not exactly going to be getting a hearty ho 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 belly laugh just hearing a bunch of slurs being spammed. Real life isn't Call of Duty lobbies.
For the record, like, at no age do you get that hearty belly laugh if you're black or gay. Just want to point that out. Like, I think this is like lost on a lot of people, right? Like, a lot of people don't fully comprehend that part. Like, you're not saying slurs for, a multitude of different reasons, right? Like, one of them is that you don't want to hurt people's feelings. I think that's important. Like, you don't want to ignite systematic oppression, systemic forms of oppression in a fucking normal conversation, in a person-to-person interaction. But even if it's not about that, it could be about, for example, not looking like a fucking racist douchebag. That's a good reason to not say things like that. But, I am understanding. I'm white. Part of the reason why I can be understanding. But I'm a little bit more understanding than the average person. On people who have done that in the past, especially if they are no longer like that, okay? Ian is the perfect example of this. But I wouldn't say it's just someone doing it for the lulz and cringing because it's no longer giving us the lulz like it used to when you were, fucking 17 years old and edgy.
So I don't think many people in the real world are going to be like laughing and fist pumping hearing you just shout slurs as comedy.
Like, normally I get mad whenever chatters say, oh, you should hear from a black person on this subject. Like, what the fuck is your white ass saying? Like, fuck you. Normally I get mad at that because I'm like, dude, I'm a white guy, but like, this is what I do. I do political commentary. Like, go watch a black content creator then. Like, what the fuck? I can't be black. You know what I mean? But in this situation, like, it does kind of, this is one of the moments where it's like, no, it's actually pretty fair to say that here because like, it does seem like, this is lost in, this is getting lost in the discourse, lost in the sauce.
So that makes sense to look back on that and cringe. However, none of your videos came from a place of hate. At least I don't think so. I don't think you were ever a racist or a bigot or anything like that. You used those words for shock humor. That was the whole goal, the edgy shock humor of using those words. And you made it pretty clear that that was kind of your drive. And he does mention it in this video with the it's either all okay or none of it's okay mentality. But I really think most people were able to recognize that the things he was saying weren't coming from a place of legitimate hate. Now, you can of course still say that it's unacceptable that he was using slurs for shock humor and punchlines in his videos for the jokes. That's a totally fair perspective to have. But it's still, I think, a little ridiculous to make it seem like it was this big of a deal that it warranted a whole apology video in which he makes it seem like he'll never truly find forgiveness and he'll never forgive himself.
Okay, I disagree, bro. What the fuck? Yo. That's crazy. Okay, that's crazy. Dude, what the fuck? Charlie, you don't even agree with this shit. Why are you saying this? Like, this is what I don't understand. Okay, this is what I don't understand. Like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, did you do that video? Did you do videos like that? No. And to the people who are saying like Hasan defends Cumtown, like, no, there are indefensible shit that Cumtown has done. Okay, absolutely. And even then, they don't, say nearly as edgy shit as Ian does for the most part, or Ian did for the most part. There is no like in defense of the N-word version, okay, that he was doing regularly.
For saying the slurs in the videos and making the content he did. Because again, like he's talking about it like he's a fucking reformed racist, like he was actually a racist and now he's not. When I don't think that was the case. He was an edgelord, and that's it. I feel like this whole video could have just been summed up very easily like, hey guys, it was fucking 2016. I was edgy, and now I think it's cringy, so I don't want to do that anymore, and we're closing the book. That
yeah, if he fucking said that, that would have been, yeah. If he said that, that would have been a shit fucking apology. Obviously, you would have liked it, but you're not the fucking target of the apology. You're friends with him. You already know who he is. You already have seen his change over the years. That apology is not for you, man. That apology is for, I don't know, black people and brown people and gay people and trans people. Like, people that were in the fucking periphery. Maybe they were fans of iDubbbz. Maybe they liked that he was shitting on Rice Gum, but we're like, what the fuck is this racial bullshit? I gotta take Kaya out real quick. Also, 2016 is not like some magical time when like saying the N-word was like totally valid. It was fucking gross back then. I remember. I was there. It's pretty fucking gross. If you make the kind of apology Charlie is talking about after meeting a fan who thought you'd hate trans people because of your content, all you'd prove is a lack of soul. Exactly.
We're shutting that chapter down, putting the kibosh on it. Now we're doing some other stuff. And that would have been a totally fine explanation. A lot of people would have still would have been disappointed, of course, in his audience that liked that content. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't feel like a prisoner to your audience. You should make what makes you happiest to create. Like, I don't think you should have felt obligated to make this video.
He said, you're like a VIP, you're tall, handsome, and you're in America. I want to murder you.
Like, I don't think this situation was so damaging that it warranted this kind of, like, fucking presidential press.
It absolutely did. It absolutely did. It absolutely did. Wrong. I would love to talk to Charlie about this. I don't know if he would be down to do it, but I'd be 100% down to talk to him about this. I think it would be significantly more agreeable. No, this is nope.
Conference here over it and apologizing for the content you made back then. I don't think like you ruined lives because you made content cop. I don't think you made an entire generation of racists and bigots because you use slurs for shock humor. I think that's a very bastardized perspective of how people digest content online. Now, I have no doubt that his audience did cultivate some weirdo losers that probably were real racists somewhere in there that didn't really care about his message and just liked that he was saying the N-word. I have no doubt that existed in his community. But I don't think that was his goal, and there's always going to be weirdo losers. Of course, you can do your best to mitigate those people from feeling welcome in your community, but that all starts with just changing the content over time. Again, that's not a weak thing to do. That is not a weak or passive approach. The vilifying of your own audience and your previous content, I don't think is the right way of even looking at the content you used to make or the audience that you had. Of course, there were bad actors in there, but not everyone was. And to make them feel like they were if they liked your content is a little weird. And I don't think that's the goal of this video by any means.
This is crazy, okay? Hold on, I gotta run it fucking back. There's so much going on here. Okay, first of all, quick summary of Charlie's take. It's okay to use slurs and you should never apologize for it or encourage others to use them. No, he's not saying that. I mean, it is coming across like that. I don't think he believes that. Charlie interpreted Ian's vid so off and all good Kai will slay anyways. Ian's own audience threatens him in his wife's life because she's a sex worker and he loves her. These are sick people. Yeah. There are, I guess, academic usages of the N-word or the F-word or whatever, and it's usually when you're talking about like the etymology of the word or something. And even then you can get away with not saying it because everybody pretty much understands it. You know what I mean? It's like this is not one of those instances. Like there's no like Mark Twain defense here. You know what I mean? He's just like, he very clearly was pro saying the N-word and was giving people the arguments to say the N-word, and that was bad. He's not like trying to make you feel bad about it, okay? But I mean, I don't know. I just don't understand it. You could do it in a play or a film script with a racist character. Yeah, exactly. Like there are utilizations of it that can be contextually appropriate. They're few and far between. And this is not one of them. And iDubbbz apologizing for it is like perfectly warranted, and it's very good that he did that. Look, you quoted a comment I saw on a Clips channel yesterday. His content for years swayed a generation. I went to pretty much all white school and was the only black kid. The amount of slurs that got called directly because of iDubbbz's comedy and pathetic reasons he slurs. It's like the little white kids in my school ate his ass up, and all I say is someone who also watches content cops. Yeah. I also don't understand why you're criticizing another person's apology. Like, what's it to you, man? What the fuck? That's weird. I thought he was gonna like defend Ian against people who were like fucking hurling insults at him and saying like psychotic shit. I did not expect this. It's not as bad as Chatters made it seem like, but it's still pretty fucking bad. Like I don't really understand. You shouldn't feel guilty for consuming his content. It's not like your output was identical to Ian's back then. You know what I mean? I don't know why like he's taking it so personally. Like this part is like very interesting to me where he's making it seem like he's like, oh, Ian made me feel bad for liking his old content. You shouldn't. I watched his old content recently with my current brain, and there were parts that were like insanely fucking cringe. You know, the N-word, F-word, all the fucking slurs, but they literally feel out of place, even with the rest of it, because he's shitting on a guy who says the N-word all the time, like Keemstar, for example. You know what I mean? So like it unironically felt out of place at that time even.
For shock humor. I think that's a very bastardized perspective of how people digest content online. Now, I have no doubt that his audience did cultivate some weirdo losers that probably were real racists somewhere in there that didn't really care about his message.
Come on, yes, dude, yes.
And just liked that he was saying the N-word. I have no doubt that existed in his community. But I don't think that was his goal, and there's always going to be weirdo losers. Of course, you can do your best to mitigate those people from feeling welcome.
Okay. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. I don't know if Charlie doesn't recognize that, like racist Nazi losers hate Keemstar too. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. When you're shitting on a guy like Rice Gum, like, there's gonna be plenty of racist Nazi losers who also are like, yeah, fuck that guy. I do not understand why he's saying this kind of stuff, especially because like Ian was 100% correct and is now getting like an insane amount of criticism for it from all of the worst parts of the internet, whether it be the annoying radlib SJWs who are like, well, it doesn't matter to me, you're like literally a Nazi, whatever, or the actual alt-right dickheads who cannot let go of the halcyon days of the golden days of content for them when they were in the internet forums and they were young and actually their dreams had not fucking crumbled in front of their eyes yet. So they're like, let's get back to that. It made me feel so fucking good when I could just say the N-word and F-word freely and watch the iDubbbz videos, and it made me feel great. And like, how dare he speak out against that? Like, you know, those guys are now fucking 35 years old, okay? And not a lot has changed in their lives from back then. And that's not a very good thing, okay? Ultimately, those are like the worst people that are shitting on him. He needs your understanding and help. That's how I see it. I'm a content creator who believes that people can grow and people can change. And I will always be welcoming of people who have demonstrated rehabilitation, demonstrated that they have changed their minds, demonstrated growth, okay? I think a lot of people in this audience have done that personally. If you're not doing that, then you're a fucking freak anyway. You're like a loser. Same person.
In your community. But that all starts with just changing the content over time. Again, that's not a weak thing to do. That is not a weak or passive approach. The vilifying of your own audience and your previous content, I don't think is the right way of even looking at the content you used to make or the audience that you had. Of course, there were bad actors in there, but not everyone was. And to make them feel like they were if they liked your content is a little weird. And I don't think that's the goal of this video by any means, but it does come across that way.
Like, yeah, this part I don't like at all. Like, what do you mean? It's like vilifying you? Like, did you take this personally? Like, what the fuck's going on?
You weren't a bad person if you were laughing at his content cops or anything like that. And I don't think he was a bad person for making those content cops in the first place.
I shouldn't be able to just make an apology video and walk away from it. This is something that I should live the rest of my life with, and I expect to. I've profited off of this bigoted content for years, and I've made a successful career out of it, and that's not right. I think that this is only a step in the right direction, and I know that a lot more needs to be done to even approach a life that I would think would be like acceptable.
You don't deserve to be fucking publicly flogged with tomatoes thrown at you for the rest of your life and skinned alive because you made edgy videos in 2016, man. It's just not that big of a deal.
Yo, what the fuck, dude? It's not what's going on. He didn't say that. Why are you making it out to be like that? What the fuck? Dude, this is so bad. All right, I'm gonna call it. No matter how much Normie Jesus has cultivated a fucking fan base of people on both sides of the political spectrum, I feel like a lot of people are gonna be rubbed the wrong way from this. There's no way. This almost feels like a Sunny V2 Ninja video at this point, where he's just like, this apology is not warranted. You're flogging yourself. You don't deserve this. Like, that's not what he's saying. He's taking ownership over some of the fucking dog shit stuff that he did, which is what men do, okay? You're an adult. You're a man. You took accountability for it. You're matured now, okay? And I think it was the right fucking thing to do. Why is he doing the fallen, fallen fan dynamic here for some reason? He stepped up. Like, he did the right fucking thing. Nobody thinks he killed people, okay? If anything, most people who are still shitting on Ian are his old fans saying, fuck you, you are a cuck, you fucking soy lord, you bitch. That's like the overwhelming majority of commentary surrounding his apology, is like all these other fucking weird, gross perverts online trying to either unsuccessfully virtue signal. Like, one comment I saw was like some dude being like, where is it? Some dude being like, yeah, I can't believe this guy apologized. iDubbbz is 32 years old and finally realized screaming the N-word is bad and accept folks to care/respect them for coming to this conclusion. Like, I'm sorry. Why did you feel to write that? Why are you so pressed then? Why are you so pressed? Why are you so pressed that he did it though? This guy hates you. I don't give a fuck. It's such a weird thing to say because, like, so what's up? Are you woke scolding him then for apologizing? Huh? Is that why? Is that because it reads, if you don't know what this dude's background is, okay? This guy is a centrist anti-essayist himself who wishes it was 2016 forever. His editing makes me want to, oh. What should he have done? Not apologize then? Why are you mad that he apologized? Explain that to me. That's what pisses me off about this shit. He literally made another take that was the opposite. Bro, this is painful. Oh my God. Oh, it turns out that you just don't like that he apologized for saying the N-word. No, he is.
It feels horrible hearing this from him, knowing that it weighs so heavily on his mind that he made these videos, so he feels like he's a real piece of shit for doing it. You just made edgy YouTube videos. You didn't ruin anybody's life. You didn't create...
Wrong. I think that Ian didn't invent racism, obviously, but he certainly fucking played a not insignificant role in giving people the weapons to fucking be racist as they want to for an entire generation. He was incredibly notable. Charlie's doing the "you aren't responsible for your fan base" shit at a time when you are, though. And Ian is saying he is, though. How bad were his videos? I've never seen any. They're actually, some of them are very good, except for the incredibly racist parts where he's just like randomly saying the N-word and F-word for no fucking reason. That's why it's like kind of interesting, because he would like make arguments to say the N-word and F-word. Wait, no wonder that Wavy Web Surf called his apology painful. This was his content this time 5 years ago. Does Ethan have a problem? H3H drama's over. Who won? Is PewDiePie still the face of YouTube? Is Alex Jones really that bad? Does Game Theory deserve the hate? How Keystone redeemed himself? The death of Trap. I mean, that's not even that bad. I'm willing to bet that dude is like way worse now.
A fucking army of racists, and
I'm willing to bet that dude probably was better back then. I'm willing to bet that dude was probably better back then and he's worse now.
Bigots. The content itself isn't bigoted content either. You used edgy shock humor, and I don't think that makes you a bigot that you're going to have to atone for.
No, it absolutely does. It does. It does. It's not 2016 anymore. Come on. And you knew that it did back then too, which is why you didn't do it. Sorry. It does. Come on, Charlie. You didn't say the N-word. You said all the other fucking things. Why didn't you say the N-word then? If it didn't make you racist. I wonder why you didn't say it. Why didn't you say it? You should have said it back then too, if it's like fine. You know what I mean? It's not. No, absolutely not. Everybody knew that it was. It was.
For those sins for the rest of your life over.
I am running ads on this video, and any revenue generated from this video, I'm going to match and donate to an organization that would have been particularly affected by the type of rhetoric that I've been spewing on this channel. And again, this isn't the end of what I'm doing. This is just the start.
You'll get no complaints from me here. I'm always on the side of helping people, so anything charitable, I'm always for. Though I don't think it was necessary or anything, I still think that's a nice gesture regardless. But he uses the word rhetoric here. And that again makes it sound like these videos were coming from like a legitimate racist, which I don't think they were. I really don't.
Bro, intent versus like outcome, dude. Oh my God. You don't need to say any of this, bro. What are you saying? The question I have for Charlie is literally this. If it wasn't that big of a deal, why the fuck didn't you say the N-word and F-word all the fucking time and make arguments as to why you should be able to say it back then? Perhaps you understood that you would look a certain type of way. And like, there is a part of this that he just completely fucking wiped out of the video in his reaction for some reason, which is like one of the personal consequences that Ian experienced. A trans fan of his coming up to him and thinking that, suspecting that he might be transphobic. That was like a pivotal moment in the video, in my opinion. It kind of like puts the narrative together in a perfect way. He also mentioned like, I'm not your cup of tea, like what he was trying to say. And when he was crying and delivering a statement at the end of his boxing match at Creator Clash 2, like that was the pivotal moment. That was the moment that he was just like, this is why I said this.
At least I don't want to believe that iDubbbz used to be a racist and he was using that to try and...
I mean, don't people think that of you? Where's your apology? Of me for what? You think you want... Who do you want me to apologize for? Let me ask you, actually. Who do you think I should apologize to? White people for saying cracker? Is that who I should apologize to?
Propel his beliefs forward. He really it seems like he was really just using these words as shock humor, which is cringy, sure, very cringy, and that is absolutely fine to point out, but it doesn't strike me as something that was genuinely ruining people's lives hearing that kind of shit. It's just kind of like an eye-rolling thing to look back on now, like, ugh, that's fucking lame.
Yeah, I think that's the main point of contention here, is that like Charlie made a fucking 21-minute video being hypercritical of Ian's apology because he thinks it's not that big of a deal. Like what he did was not that big of a deal. It was. It's not just cringy. It was a fucking big deal. Routinely making arguments about like why you should be able to say the N-word and F-word is a big deal, okay? Especially if you personally are against that sort of thing, okay?